Hello, welcome to the Overshadow Shadowcast with your host Thomas Anderson, Abigail Moit.
Hello. Hello.
Ah.
You've been possessed by a tired sheep. He's
Um,
nodding.
witty banter, repartee, witty banter. What have you been playing?
I have been playing Watchdogs. More Watchdogs. And I'm really
And what have
enjoying
these
it.
dogs been doing while you've been watching them?
Staring at me. Just intently
There's
staring at each other.
less of playing a game and more of having a nightmare.
Yeah. Some of the game has been a bit of a nightmare only because it's gotten a bit more difficult.
Because you're of inexperienced.
Yeah, it's because I've not gotten the experience of playing these kinds of games. I think last time I spoke about it, it was very similar to Hitman. That's how I described it.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't played that much Hitman, but it's still a little bit like Hitman.
So basically, it's a little bit like what you know of Hitman,
Yes.
but I don't think it is like Hitman.
Well, it kind of is because you have to sneak about and then you have to take out the enemies. I thought I was just making them unconscious, but I think I was actually killing them. But there's it was a really funny moment. Basically, I described last week was that you can do side quests, and these side quests are different things. Like sometimes it's stopping a crime, and some other times it's delivering vehicles to
Okay.
other places. So there was one where I was having to stop a crime, but the person I was trying to stop doing the crime started
Mm-hmm.
shooting into a crowd. So I took them down, but then somebody called the police. And for some reason, I was then being chased by the police. Even though I had done nothing, I'd stopped the gunman. And yet
Yeah.
I was the one being chased by the police.
Well, yeah, but that's sort of real life. I quite like that idea actually, because they wouldn't know that, would they?
No. But,
Or they would turn around and see somebody shot into a crowd and you've shot someone, so they would think you shot into the crowd.
yeah, but then I thought I was going to be smart. And I got out in the car and I ran. And I thought I was hiding very well. It turned out I wasn't. The police got on foot and chased me. And then there was really only one option I could do, which was jump in the river. And I thought, oh, now they'll stop. No, they did not stop chasing me. So I had to swim and keep swimming, even though they were shooting at me. I almost died a couple of times. And the only option I then had to try and escape was to try and get into a boat. Not a speedboat, a water taxi. A big, yellow, slow water taxi.
But
So,
basically, a banana boat.
a bit like one, yes. And I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to die. But I thought, no, do you know what? I'm just going to stay in this thing for as long as I can. And so I had a helicopter chasing me behind me. And then I just had the police cars try to trail me on the land. But I basically just stayed in this boat for about 10 minutes. And I just had the helicopter going, pull over, stop. Nothing else happened. And I
Pull
just kept
your
going.
pull the boat over. Pull the boat over.
I just kept going until I eventually found a location where I was like, all right, what I need to do is I need to get out of this boat because they're not going to stop chasing me until I get in a car and can outrun them, basically. So I was literally for about 10 minutes solid, just going along this river, bouncing up and down, having this helicopter chase behind me. The cars are trying to trail me on land, and sometimes they disappear, then sometimes they come back. Eventually, I managed to beach the boat at where there's a truck, get in the truck, and manage to outrun them. But it was just the maddest thing. Because I thought, oh, maybe a police boat will come up behind me and, like, jump me or something. It never did. It was literally just a helicopter chasing me. But it was the funniest thing watching this yellow boat taxi just trudge along the water while the police try and, like, go after them.
It reminds me of a time I was playing Vice City, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and I was just faffing around at the airport, and I was driving a baggage carrier,
Yeah.
which does about 20 miles an hour max. So these police cars would steam up the road
Yeah.
full speed and just shoot past me. If they were coming towards me, they'd massively overshoot. If they were trying to drive up behind me, they'd overshoot. And then they'd turn around and overshoot going the other way because I was going so much slower than the game was
Yeah.
able to anticipate. That was fun because you. I remember I got out the baggage handler, and I went and stole those car ramp things. The car, the things that you put cars on
Yes,
that
yes.
fold down into a ramp so you can get the cars up on top, and then you
Yeah.
drive the three cars underneath. But it was carless, so it was in ramp mode, and I would just position it so that when cars, the police cars came up behind me to like pit maneuver me, they would go up the ramp and shoot over the front.
Oh, that is hilarious.
I'd say that that's probably the game I would go for more for what you're playing is either Assassin's Creed or Grand Theft Auto. That
Yeah.
sort of combo style.
Yeah, well, I was doing a lot of the side quests, and I think I eventually unlocked all the CTOS towers,
Okay.
which was pretty difficult.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, but it was
Ubisoft game. Yeah, let's climb a tower and make something go ping and then we'll go away.
yeah.
Hmm.
But what I then did was I started playing the main campaign again
Okay.
because it's fun stopping crimes and things like that. But you see, if the criminal catches onto you, it negates it. So it will not negate. Sorry, if they spotted you, it will stop you being able to stop a crime. If that makes any sense, because the person won't try to commit the crime. So sometimes you go really out your way to do this, and then it goes, "Oh, I spotted you," so therefore it stops that entire side quest thing.
So basically, there's an auto fail where if you're
Yeah.
detected.
Normally
Yeah,
there's a little
that's Assassin's Creed.
normally there's a little triangle, and a color bar around that triangle will go, and if it completes it, it means you can't do anything to stop that event happening. So that could be somebody calling the police, that could somebody be hacking into yourself, or it could be a criminal spotting you.
Even if you just shot them in the head.
No, you have to wait for them to do something before you stop them. So there's a chance. So like if you go up to if you are given a pinpoint of where a crime might happen, you
Waypoint.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of, a pinpoint. A waypoint where a crime might happen. You go there and then you have to kind of like scan about for the potential either victim or criminal.
Hmm.
If it's a criminal, it says likelihood of it's like potential of crime being committed like 23%. You have to wait till that goes up to about 95%.
So these missions are for you
Stop and observe, basically.
to work out who's committing the crime.
Yes.
Right, okay, I've got you. That makes more sense. I didn't understand how if somebody was detecting you, you could just go blam and that would stop it. It's because you're trying to work out who's doing it. I thought it was just that type of side mission where say you're sneaking in somewhere but you're not allowed to be detected.
Yeah, nah.
Right, I get you. Sorry, I was a bit confused there. I get you.
But yeah, it's getting a bit more interesting now. And there was a part where it was like one of Aiden's contacts is called, it's like, I think it's Bad Boy 17, and Bad Boy 17 decides to meet Aiden. But there's this really funny part.
Are you about to give away a spoiler?
No, I won't give away a
Okay.
spoiler. But he's going to meet Bad Boy 17. But because he doesn't know what Bad Boy 17 looks like, there's this point where he's just going up to random men going, Bad Boy 17, bad boy. And they're just like, what is wrong with you? Walk away. It's really awkward. It only happens for about like 10-15 seconds, but it's so funny and so awkward.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But that's
Bad boy.
so what's wrong with you? It's just the look that the other person gives him, like, what? But yeah, so I have been playing Watchdogs and I'm enjoying it very much. And I shall I'm actually like really looking forward to playing it when I
Yeah, at the time.
yeah,
I can't remember what that's like.
playing or having time.
Just looking forward to it.
That's a shame.
I'm too busy.
Well, yeah. It'll be worth it in the end though.
I hope.
I believe in you. Well, I had to officially decline my place at university this week.
Yeah.
It was strange because it felt like I'd worked so hard toward it, but I was offered a different thing, so I decided to take the different thing. Life's weird.
I think you've got an idea of what you want to do, And I know it feels like you've turned down something, but what you've not done is what you've done is decided, because you're not turning it down permanently, as it were. You're still open to the idea. It's just that you'll have to reapply. But if you got in once, you'll get in again.
Yeah, but I want to get in for something else.
No, that's my point. That's why you had to turn it down.
Yeah. It was a good experience, I suppose. A little bit of life story there for you guys.
That was a weird laugh.
Thank you. That was an awkward laugh.
I don't think you needed to laugh. I think you could have just said that and it would have been fine.
I don't know why I do that.
I think you laughed because you thought you weren't allowed to say that. So you went,
No, no. I think this is like a learned trait. So I'm not the only one in my family that does that.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's not funny, but you laugh afterwards. And I think it's
Yeah.
like a nervous thing.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. You said something you weren't sure was going to fit into the conversation, so you laughed to make it fit.
Yeah. But you have been very busy. You have not had time to play, I don't believe.
A smattering of minutes just to help me through the. If I've got a lot of work to do and I'm up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, I'll just play something for 20 minutes and then I'll go back to doing what I'm doing. Just to keep myself going.
Don't yawn, you make me yawn. Then, did you want to move on to the stories that you have?
I think I can tell you what game I'll be playing once I'm out the other end of my dissertation.
What game will you be playing?
South Park, The Fractured But Whole.
Oh, that's the sequel to Stick of Truth, is it not?
Yeah.
Is this the one with it's Mysterio? That's the main
Yeah, it's
character.
superhero based. I
Yeah.
don't know who's in it, so don't go ruining nothing for me.
Oh,
but
I only
it's
know.
superhero
Oh,
based.
I don't know the game. I've never watched anybody play it. I've only ever watched somebody play Stick of Truth.
Yeah.
But
Well, they base their games on
episodes.
sort of no settings.
Yeah.
So the first one is fantasy.
Yeah.
Second one is superheroes. I think the fantasy setting might have worked a bit better to some degree because it was things like I feel like one I saw one character use a superpower and it was just the character using a superpower. Whereas in the previous one, I felt like it was things like if you threw a fireball, they farted in their hand and threw it and it blew up or something like that.
Yeah.
It just felt a little bit more like it was
Imaginative.
aye. It was
Creative.
interpretation. They had childish creations that served the purpose of actual things.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it seems a little bit less like that.
Well,
But that's all. That's all I've seen. That I can talk about.
I
From that
can
point of view. But
have you ever watched the episodes with the superheroes?
yeah, but they don't have magic eyeball lasers and that. They just go pew 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 at each other.
Yeah.
But
What is it?
yeah,
What's Cartman's superhero?
the coon.
The Coon. I couldn't
Mm.
remember what it was. And the
Yeah.
Coon.
Coon and friends. See.
Yes.
And yeah, that was it.
The only superheroes I can remember from the show was Mysterio, which I believe it's the one with like the big question mark above his forehead or something. Does he have a question mark or something like that on him?
Yeah, I think he
What's on
he
his
has a big
forehead?
ball over his head and a question mark just above it.
No, I remember he has like a cloak, a purple cloak.
Yeah, he's got a cloak over the big ball on his head, I think, and then he's got a question mark.
Right.
I think.
And there was it Mintberry Crunch?
Yep.
I don't remember
Human
any.
kite.
Who is the human kite? Was that Butter? No, Butter was the villain, was he not?
He's
Butters was the villain.
Butters
Butters.
is Professor Chaos.
That's it. Who was his psychic?
General Disarray. And there was one more, Toolshed. It was Kyle who was the human kite.
Ah, right.
Mm.
Mintberry Crunch. That's all I could remember.
I remember those jokes from Mock of the Week. They had corporal punishment, major damage,
Yes.
general recklessness, corporal punishment. I don't know if I said that one already.
I can't remember.
Private browsing. And then they couldn't come up with another one, so it was Colonel Abrams.
I've not much Mock the Week in years. Not since Frankie Boyle left.
It's not been as good since then, has it?
No.
It's just the way that it is. Right, yeah. So that's probably what I'll be playing, other than when I play with Mind Bruda, in which case it will be Mind Broda, in which case it will be Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. We haven't
Nice.
played that for a couple of weeks, I don't think, or a week or so.
Well, you've been busy.
Mm.
And he'll also be busy.
Mm. But those are the two games I'll be playing after this dissertation, and I might be able to play with my brother during it for like an hour or so a week. Just busy, but it means I won't have anything to really talk about.
That's
Not unless
understandable.
during that hour I'm playing with him, like something monumental happens, my character turns into Jesus with wings and a lightsaber. In which case I might tell you about that. One thing we did do was we popped back to I told you this before. It's sort of like a city that's a safe zone, and around, but you can have fights in it, and then around that is the actual bad world of bad
Yeah.
people to badness of bad Stabbingtons. So we went back to the main safe city area to sort of hand in quests that we'd somehow not finished,
Yeah.
and then we've been trying to find an enemy we can fight because we're sort of like we're hopelessly under-leveled for some of the fights. Especially considering I told you that I was saving my character's points so that I can actually see what happens
Yeah. You said
with
that
all the powers. So that means my guy's very useless. And we also found out that the companions we'd been taking with us, I had been not leveling up my companion. So she's massively
Well
under-leveled as
done.
well. But I can level her up because we know what we're going to be doing with her. It's just me that we don't know what yet.
Did you not
But
say
I
you were going
think,
to be like monotonously like trying stuff out and then reloading it, trying it out, reloading
yeah,
it?
yeah, that's why I can't level up because I need to have all those points sitting there to do that.
Yeah.
But I've got 7. I need 15 to make that work. But what we can do is, I know roughly I'll probably end up being a tank that reflects damage.
Yes.
Because in one fight that we had, it's a very tough fight that actually was a lot easier than we thought it was going to be because my guy reflected 4 attacks,
Wow.
which became a total of 200 points of damage.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, he just blocked those. And that's without 2 min. That's with like 1 point in shield proficiency. So if I filled that out, apparently he'll block almost all the time if you do that, and sometimes with certain things they'll reflect the damage back.
Yeah.
So like I've just realized talking to you now, but I've turned my guy into Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's a master. He's the ultimate master in all of Star Wars at Form 3, Soresu,
Mhm.
which is a purely defensive form.
Oh, okay.
So Anakin Skywalker is a master of Form 5, which is a defensive form but instead of waiting for your opponent to make a mistake, which is what Form 3 does, that form has a couple of attacks to allow you to force a mistake.
Okay. I think I get it.
Yoda Form 2, just attack, 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 jumping all over the place. It's Ataru, I think. Form 1, or is Ataru Form 4? And Form 2 is Makashi, which is the dueling form, which is what Dooku does. And Form 1 is the basic form, which is what Kit Fisto uses.
Who's Kit Fisto?
Do you remember the green one with lots of tentacles and black eyes?
You.
Well, that's Kit Fisto.
Are
Mace Windu uses Vapad.
Are these characters from Clone Wars, the
No,
TV series?
no, they're all in the actual movies as well.
Oh, I don't remember.
Vapad's Form 7, and that's Mace Windu, and there is a Form 6, but I can't remember what it is. And I can't remember who the master of it is. But yeah, I seem to be turning my character into a defensive specialist because he doesn't do that much damage anymore. Like he was attacking for like 30 points,
Yeah.
whereas the woman that I have as part of my duo,
Mhm.
my brother has 2 people who are magicians, and I've got the 2 melee attackers. She was attacking for like 50 or 60 or at least, if
Yeah.
not more. Whereas my guy, because he's a one-handed weapon and a shield, was like bashing for 30, just plop. And it's a big wooden stick, like a walking stick with a big ball on the end, and he just clobs them because it's called a clobber. It's clobbering time, I think it's called. He just goes boom, and you can hear it. It sounds like he's just hit them in the forehead with it, boom. But by the end of the fight, he'd blocked over 200 points of damage, and that was enough for him to survive the fight, and basically for us to never be at the point where we were desperately in need of healing
Well, that
or
makes
anybody had
sense.
gone down. So if I focused down that
Yeah.
route, there's also a power where I can taunt everything within 8 meters, I think it is, and so they'll all come and attack me.
I just
So if
imagine
I,
when you say
yeah,
taunt, all I can imagine is just going, nah, nah, nah.
yeah, that's what it is. So, nah, 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 and they all come running in, and then my guy would block everything. That's what I'm aiming for. I think that's the route I'm going to go down, is to make him draw all the damage in and either block it or reflect it back.
I'm greater than you. You can't get me. Nyeh, 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 nyeh.
Yeah. Because it really worked. Like
Come at me, bro.
sitting him right in the middle of the. We managed to get the enemy to come down this rather narrow pathway, so they were kind of all in each other's way, which was necessary because we were outnumbered about 2-1. And I sat my guy right in the middle of it, and they just sort of like congregated around him, and every time they tried to hit him, he was just blocking everything. But he blocked about 4 times, and it saved about, I'd say it saved over 200 points of damage. And he'd have gone down if it wasn't for that, and then the attacks would have turned on the others, and we'd have been doing less damage, and blah 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 blah. It worked really really well. So I might focus myself down that path.
Seems like a sensible thing to do.
Hmm. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes, oh, you are.
Shall we move on?
We shall.
Okay, first story: Ubisoft in Singapore. Former employees have called it one of the worst Ubisoft studios in terms of culture, and it has an exclusionary French ceiling that made it impossible for native workers to climb the ladder. Ubisoft claimed that 40% of expert and senior expert roles are Singaporean or permanent residents, despite former employees complaining that French was a regularly used language on the studio floor.
And they're also experiencing allegations of
Uh,
sexual harassment as well.
yes, so they're being investigated by an independent investigator. If the sexual harassment claims have any foundation, they'll be passed to the police. And if the Singapore government fair consideration framework, which covers discrimination, has been breached, then they could see a block of work passes or renewing of existing passes, visas, for staff that are foreign, lasting between 12 and 24 months. As in, they won't be able to make any more requests of a new or renewing nature for current or new staff for the next year or two. Which that was somewhat actually does sort of go towards the point. You know, like they're in Singapore, but they've got 60% foreign staff.
Yeah, no. If your company is in another country, surely most of your staff should come from that country. You're using their resources.
I wouldn't say all, but I would say
I
you could argue most
I
would
did
be
s-
reasonable.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's only fair.
What I would say is that I don't have an issue with French being the main language because they do have to interact. They're a French company. They have to interact with their home base company, which uses French. But if that's the case, then you need to put in training to teach your staff how to speak French. And you can't have a French ceiling so that only Frenchies can, you know.
That's a really toxic environment if that's the case.
Yeah. But that's the point. If you want them speaking French and you're hiring them from Singapore, you can't expect them to speak them. You can't expect them to speak French. You can't expect them to speak French. I don't know why you're not laughing at that. Is that
There was so so many words there. My little dyslexic brain had a hard time trying
I
to keep
thought
up
that.
with it.
I thought for a split second you thought that was how you say that because you just looked up. You can't expect them to speak French.
Yes. I get
I don't think
that.
there was any need to go ho 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 ho.
I didn't mean to do that. I honestly didn't mean to do that.
French, eh?
It was like today. I'm not joking. I was buying shoes, like some walking boots today, and I got so stressed out over it, I couldn't read the labels. My dyslexic brain just went, nope. I had to give it to my dad to read.
Right. I don't know why you got worked up over that, but okay. What I would say is the phrase I was trying to use was you cannot expect them to speak French if you're hiring them from Singapore. Not that you cannot expect them to speak French.
The fact of the matter is, if you're going to open up a business
French.
if you're going to open up a business in a country that doesn't speak your language, you should be expected to learn their language. So the French should be learning to speak.
Just gonna leave that one hanging for a while and just see.
I don't know what they speak in I don't actually know where Singapore is. Is it Chinese?
What did you say?
Chinese?
Mandarin Chinese is one of them, but I believe the main two are Malay and English.
I think you should make some attempt to learn learn either the native language or one of the native languages of a place where you're going to be opening up a company.
Well, the argument probably would be that the French people working there probably can speak French and English.
Well,
So technically speaking, they've covered that. My point would be that if you expect your workforce to speak French, then you need to pay for them to learn French.
that'd be like a cool thing that if you opened up a company somewhere and you could say, "Oh yeah, come work with us, and we'll pay you to learn a second language."
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was working for a company opened up in like Italy or wherever, and they said, "Oh, if you want to come, well, like we'll pay you to do like a second language course so you can learn Italian, so that when you go there, you know how to speak their language." That'd be pretty cool.
But that's
But
sort of the point.
I don't believe you should be if you speak a language and a good chunk of your workforce also speak that language, but a massive chunk also doesn't speak that language, and you're only speaking that language to be to exclude other people. If that makes like
I'm not sure if that's what it was. I think they were just speaking that language because it made more sense, but they ended up excluding people because they hadn't thought it through. I
if
don't
that's
I
what was
don't think
happening.
I don't think people pick the language they're going to use based on whether or not it means other people can't speak it. I just think kind of
Sometimes they
that's a bit.
do. Sometimes they do.
I know.
But I'm saying if it was done out of malice, that's wrong. But also, yet again, this is another company that is facing sexual harassment allegations against it, another gaming company.
Mm. Yeah, it's true. Uh, yeah, that's true.
Which is really horrific. But again, like all of these are still only allegations until it's gone through a tribunal or the courts. You don't know what's actually happened. But it's good they're taking it seriously because every single accusation always must be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm. So it's an independent investigator, and if they find, it'll be passed to the police.
It's just a really, again, just if it's true, it's just a really sad time. It's a really horrific thing to happen.
We shall move on.
We shall. But there's not much else. All we know is that there have been allegations, and that's about it.
The rest of the stories are a bit yayer than that one, to be
Upbeat.
childish. GTA Trilogy remaster that we spoke about before.
Yes. So these were
So
the
being
three. Sorry.
no, you go.
I was going to say these are the three games. So it was GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. That they were either going to remake or remaster, but there was no confirmation. However.
It says remaster here.
Oh, okay. So
I think we'll call that.
Have Rockstar actually come out and confirmed it? So I actually can't remember anybody confirming it.
It's been confirmed by multiple reports, at least.
Okay then.
We'll say that yeah, it's looking more like it's a remaster. So there's a report by Kotaku that said that the visuals would be a blend of old and new, but that's caused a bit of a kerfuffle with the fans who are saying what's it going to look like.
Yeah, but what does that mean, old and new? Like it's going to look like the old.
No, what it means is they're not going to totally revamp them to be completely brand new.
So they'll still be wearing like the same clothing, same hairdos, all this kind of stuff.
What I'm saying is they might even dumb down the remaster so it doesn't look like so it doesn't look like a brand new game made this year.
Oh, okay, so it's still going to look a little bit rough around the edges type of thing.
It might, yeah. Because that's part of the style of the game.
Yeah.
To a degree. So fans have been talking about previous like rendered artworks and remastered pieces of art and like remastered trailers that fans have done. They're talking about those to say I want it to look like this, I want it to look like that, I want it to look like the next thing. And it does seem like there's going to be a balance that has to be struck between new and old, basically.
My opinion is that if you are going to remaster or remake something, whatever it is, you might as well just do it as new stuff.
Right, but you need to make sure I think what you mean is do it as well as you can.
Yeah.
but the issue is there that the entire vibe of the game might be lost. The sort
I
of that
suppose.
you might lose this. It would just look like there's a difference between a game being worked on to look a little bit better from 2004 and a game that was made now that because it was made now should have things in it that doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's sort of a big part of it.
Like it
Like,
loses the quality, like the fun quality of it.
yeah, because I mean, you've played GTA 3 and the guns sort of like float in the air.
Yeah, and also if you breathe on a car, it explodes.
Right, but that changes in later games when they're able to do better. So you wouldn't see the guns just lying on the ground if you were playing GTA 3 or Vice City or San Andreas. Well, yeah, you could in San Andreas, but not in 3 and 4, Vice City. But by the time you get to later games, you can see them.
Yeah.
So you don't need. In fact, I think in San Andreas they float around as well. But by the time you get to GTA 5, you can see what's on the ground. You don't need. The graphics have improved. But if you left that in, it would either look stupid or if you took it out, it would look like it was missing.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of what we're getting at.
Okay.
There's also
I
the fact that if you
understand.
remaster the graphics enough, the characters might not look like they did before.
Yeah.
Because the poor graphics would have made the gruffer characters naturally gruff.
I suppose so, because I remember playing Rugrats Search for Reptar.
Oh
That
god.
was I think I once described GTA 3 as blocky.
Yeah.
This was super blocky.
Hmm.
So I honestly can't actually remember what year that game came out. But there was something very charming about the quality of it. It was fun. It was weird. The jumping mechanics were terrible. Everything about it was very, very bad.
Well,
Comparing it to today's games, but
there's also the fact that because the poorer quality graphics were there, you could get away with more.
yeah,
So like, if you sniped in Vice City, if you sniped a bad guy in the head, their head just disappeared, and there's a fountain of blood would come out. If you did that with modern graphics, that would be horrific.
yeah,
There's also another one where you can buy the adult movie studio, and to advertise the movies, you use spotlights to put a movie up on the side of a building so that
yeah.
people can see it. But if you did that with modern graphics, you'd be able to see everything. Whereas because the graphics were so bad earlier on, you couldn't see anything, so they got away with it.
Right, okay.
So I think that charm would become horrific, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Sort of like in Halo, if you shoot the grunts in the head and you've got the skull active, confetti will come out their head. And
Did we
that's
ever try
lovely.
that?
I think we might have done once, but that's lovely and great and brilliant. But that's sort of goes away if when you shoot them, their heads explode and there's bits everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
Like one of those is, oh, lovely, lovely. The other one's, oh my God, that's horrible.
So the lesser quality, the more you can get away with, the more.
Yeah, well, I mean, Halo chooses not to chooses that its enemies will not come apart, that they'll stay as whole bodies, they will not fracture. With something like Gears of War, you just everything explodes into a bag of bits at the mildest touch. Like the cars in GTA 3, you breathe on them and they explode. If you breathe on a bad guy in Gears, they just fall to bloody bits. So it would be a different game, basically, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Next. Skyrim is going to be 10 years old. We're going to blast
Ah,
through these next
happy
few ones.
birthday.
It's going to be 10 years old. It's nearly at big boy school. And there will be an anniversary edition.
Ooh.
Right. The anniversary edition includes a decade worth of content, the critically acclaimed core game, and add-ons of Skyrim Special Edition, plus 500 unique pieces of content from the Creation Club.
Are they all socks? All different variants of socks?
No, from the Creation Club, such as quests, dungeons, bosses, weapons, and spells.
Nice.
If you've already played it, you're not left out, as the anniversary edition will be available as an upgrade
Oh.
for the special edition. A free next gen upgrade will also launch on the same day.
So I've already got Skyrim.
Yep. Although it's not clear yet whether it will come to PC.
Oh no,
And
sorry.
separately, Bethesda is adding fishing to the game.
It's Elder Scrolls I'm thinking of, not Skyrim.
Mm. Because fishing is in Elder Scrolls.
Yay.
It's no, Skyrim is that's the game. Yeah, it's not.
Sorry, I just got them confused. There'll be people out going, "How dare you get those confused?"
So I think we should just wait and get the free. Well, not necessarily free, but if I have to buy the Wii upgrade to change it from special edition to anniversary, I'll just do that because I've got the special one on PC. So I'll
Nice.
just see what happens.
Well, I've got
Um,
neither, so I will see how much the anniversary edition is.
I've not played Skyrim in is it 8 years, but yeah, it's if they've remastered the graphics, it's a game I would go back to because I don't think I finished it. I put over 250 hours in, but I never finished it.
Next.
One of those weird things where I never finished it and I want to go back and play it, but I don't feel like I didn't play it, if you know what I mean. Because I put in more time than people who did finish it, so I know what the game is, even if I
Okay.
didn't play the story through
Yeah.
completely. Cyberpunk 2077 is getting its biggest patch, which includes the first batch of post-launch free DLC. There'll be a huge set of patches to deal with the bugs that are there. It's becoming much more stable and it's becoming much better. And there'll also be the free DLC added, which will probably just add more bugs.
It's like
But
that comic strip I sent you the other day.
yeah, it's just about yeah, I think they made a mistake there. Yeah, it should have been a much better nick, but the fact that they're
They offer. I mean,
fixing it,
they
they're
offered
using the
us,
money to fix it, and they're giving out free DLC. Yeah.
and they also offered to give refunds and things like that right at the start.
Hmm?
They offered like refunds and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of people in the comments under this story just saying that it like I don't like No Man's Sky because I feel that everybody was lied to with No Man's Sky. But the people are saying that this is worse than No Man's Sky because they've got way more employees and it's, small and it was somebody getting overexcited and saying the game can do this and the game can do that. But the point is that there's a difference between saying your game has mechanics in it which doesn't, and your game having the mechanics in it that you say but they're bugged.
Yeah.
There's a difference there. And I have more sympathy for bugs than I do for you saying something's in your game which isn't.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's more patches coming, but we don't know when the patch is actually going to be there.
I am the patch. I am all the patches.
Yeah, there's no release date for the 1.3 patch update yet, which has all the patches in it, but it says very soon, and it includes all these free stuffs. So that's good.
Yes.
Because I mean, personally, I'm not so desperate that I'm going to be. I need to play this straight away. If they release a game and it doesn't work, and then they spend time fixing it, and then I buy it,
It was like it was never broken to begin
I
with.
don't really. Yeah, there's been no problem for me. So you might want to. It's when people buy something on pre-order and then it's a bit buggy, and you're like, well, don't pre-order it then. That is the gamble you chose to take.
But it shouldn't have been a gamble to begin with, though.
No, it always will be. With modern games, there will always be bugs. That's just the way that it works. You're not going to get rid of them. But there should be a sort of acceptable social limit, and I
Mm.
think this breaches that far too far.
Yeah.
I don't agree with pre-orders anyway. I would never advise anyone to do that. But what I would say is that what I'm saying is that while there is a limit to socially acceptable limit does need to be created, they will always be there. But this breaches that, and but you do need to have a sort of no game is going to be perfect once it's released. It's just not the way it works. You can't test for millions of players. See what I mean?
Yeah.
If you hire a couple of players to play your game over and over again, it's still not going to be as much game time as a million people playing your game over a weekend.
I know.
So you're always going to find bugs. Now this obviously doesn't fall into that category, but even if they kept working on it, it still would have launched with issues because it's a modern game. They all do. They're all just like teetering houses of cards waiting to come down.
Which is kind of weird.
But that's just the way that it is. this was too much, but then they offered the money back for anybody who bought the game. So to say that it was a scam is a bit far.
Yeah. They were
It's
like,
also full of bugs and everything they promised. So I don't really see how that's a scam either. It's just, and it's not like they've rejected it. They've said we've this is not the way we wanted it to be. We're going to fix it now. Like
yeah, they put their hands
I
up. They
don't.
screwed up.
Yeah, they've made a mistake. They've done it wrong. That's not the same as a scam. So there's a story here about some release dates of Bioware games. Now, Bioware have been collapsing, like a souffle under a withering glance. And
It's a good analogy.
they were, releasing games that were just not doing very well.
What was the
Andromeda.
last? Right.
Anthem.
Oh yes.
And the reboot, Anthem 2.0, has officially been cancelled.
Has what? Sorry.
Been cancelled.
Okay.
It
I thought you were like trying to say concealed, and I'm like, what do you mean concealed?
cancelled.
Cancelled.
Yep. So that's not the way they're going. But they did release a game recently, at least a BioWare game was released recently, which was the remastering of the first 3 Mass Effect games. And that has done very, very well.
Well, I understand in the world of gaming, these are classic games.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to do well, because you've already got the fan base there.
And I think that they're remastering KOTOR, if memory serves.
You told me that, yeah.
Yeah. So so now we've got the next question, which is what's happening with Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect 4, which we were worried about.
It's not happening, is it?
No, they are.
Oh, that's good.
And the current speculation is that Dragon Age 4, which was actually fully cancelled at one point,
Yeah.
it was called Project Joplin, which would have become Dragon Age 4, was cancelled and they started all over again. So it looks as if Dragon Age 4 have taken the noise of the fans as words and they're going to take their time. BioWare are going to take their time rather than rush it. And so it could be 2023 for Dragon Age 4 and 2025 for Mass Effect 4.
Well, it's good that they're taking their time then, because they might as well do that.
Yeah. What we do know is that Mass Effect will not release until Dragon Age 4 has. It'll probably be a bit behind it. So if it is 2023, it'll be 2025 for
Yeah.
Mass Effect. So Dragon Age 4 is being developed. That's the big takeaway. And
Well,
it comes off the back of them having done much better when it comes to Mass Effect Remaster. In fact, Mass Effect Remaster has actually caused players to go back and play Mass Effect Andromeda, because apparently Mass Effect Andromeda has been had a lot of patches to it over the years.
All right.
So apparently people are going back and they're finding it a slightly better game. But they're being inspired to go back to Andromeda because they played the first 3 again in the remaster and they liked it, so they're going to play Andromeda and finding that it's been patched while they were away.
Nice.
Yeah. So people are starting to enjoy it a bit more now. And if they can actually get Andromeda to be liked by people by patching it, then, well, it says great things,
Yeah.
thumbs up for something like Cyberpunk. But also it says that, like, Mass Effect Andromeda was, or what people call Andromeda, was the Mass Effect killer. It killed Mass Effect. But if they go back and make it likable, then it means that they haven't killed Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It's, that's looking quite good. Yeah, so people who are playing it now are finding it to be better than what they originally believed because it's been patched, and people who had played it before are finding it to be better than what they played because of
The
it
patches.
has been patched. But it's sort of like, so the first group who've never played it before are being hit by the fact that it is better, and so therefore it doesn't seem as bad because it isn't as bad, because the original opinions for what the game was like originally, and it isn't anymore.
Yes.
There was like DLCs and stuff that were cancelled. I'm interested to see if BioWare, if they think they've had enough of a revival in Mass Effect to actually go and remake them.
I think if they
That would be interesting to me.
see it as the bigger moneymaker, yeah, I think they will.
Or not even a bigger moneymaker, just enough of a moneymaker to say to people, we are back.
Yes.
If they've gone and made the DLCs for Andromeda because they can say there's enough attention for us to do that. That means that Mass Effect has been revived in
Yeah.
a way that something like, you know, Call of Duty when they made Modern Warfare, they remade Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
That was them hitting the emergency button and it didn't work. The Legendary Edition for Mass Effect seem if they make the Mass Effect Andromeda DLC, then that emergency button of remastering Mass Effect worked.
I think that with so many downfalls in the last few years, they need to go back to what originally made them good.
I would say good shooting, cool powers, excellent setting, and fantastic story.
Yeah.
Great characters. That's what you need.
Because they obviously went wrong somewhere.
Okay, so there's not actual sales numbers. They haven't actually been shared, but all the stories that I'm seeing here are that the sales numbers for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition were way above EA's expectations.
Well, that's good.
So that says people are desperate for another Mass Effect game, so that's going to push them to do it properly. Because people will wait. If they take the time with Mass Effect, they'll sell half as many games, right?
Yeah.
They won't because it'll take twice as long to make them, but they'll sell 4 or 5 times as many copies.
Yeah.
Mass Effect's not Call of Duty. It's not Battlefield. People will not buy a yearly release. In fact, Battlefield don't even do yearly releases if memory serves, but maybe they do now. I don't know. I can't remember. But let's say Call of Duty. They're not going to buy a yearly Mass Effect. It's not Assassin's Creed. Nobody's going to go for that. It needs to be better than that.
Yeah.
And the simple fact of the matter is that the numbers of sales will cut drastically if they try and rush it. So they need to give the people the time. Same with Dragon Age. If you give them the time, you'll sell 10 times as many copies. If you make one Dragon Age game every few years, you'll sell 10 times as many copies. And if you try and make one a year, same with Mass Effect, people just will not go for that.
No.
2 years between them is enough. But it'd have to be pretty amazing to sell one a year, and they need to just accept they need to give it time. In fact, an alternating release. Bethesda used to have an alternating release. I think they still do, where it was a Fallout game, then a Elder Scrolls game, then a Fallout game, then an Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
Now that
Well, it makes more
was,
sense.
Yeah, so I think it was Oblivion, Fallout 3, Skyrim, Fallout 4. Then it'll be Elder Scrolls 6, and then it'll be the next proper Fallout game. 76 doesn't really count because it's an MMO, so it's a bit more like
Yeah.
SO. And I think if EA did that with Dragon Age and Mass Effect, alternating, so 2023 for for Mass Effect 4, for Dragon Age 4, 2025 for Mass Effect 4, then Dragon Age 5 in 2027,
Yeah.
2029 for Mass Effect 5, they could keep that going for a long time.
But it makes more sense because it gives each team that's working on whatever game the time that they need.
But it also gives you time to move people. So
Yeah.
the story writers can work on one and then work on the other, or they can, they've got flexibility to move between them. The developers can move between them. The artists can move between them. Because you need some people that specialize more in one than the other, so that they can be the core of those franchises. But you also need them to move between them a little bit so that they can, just even if it's something stupid like, oh, I drew this for an enemy in this game, but it doesn't really make sense. Can you make an alien out of this demon?
Yeah.
Even just that would make something better.
That make more sense.
So that time gives them flexibility. And if they have to sit there 1 year and say, we can't get Dragon Age 6 done, wait a year. And then it just gives an extra year of development for Mass Effect. Just like, you just have to wait. You just have to take that hit. EA needs to pivot themselves away from loot boxes because it's not going to last.
No.
Too many people are starting to... It's maybe not get the same furore that it had in 2018-19, but there's too many countries trying to do things. There's too many scientists researching into loot boxes. There's too many things happening that it's going to start eating into their profit margin too much.
No, I agree with that.
And unfortunately, EA aren't tobacco. Tobacco companies make more money than they did before we banned cigarettes in public places and hyped up all the taxes because they now sell them really cheap in other countries. But you can't sell a a Mass Effect game to a person who doesn't own a console, a TV, have regular power, it's not quite the same thing. So if they lost loot box rights, they can't really make that up anywhere.
Yeah.
So they need core back. I mean, look at Activision. Their core backbone franchise is Call of Duty, and it's sort of spiraling a wee bit. It's really delicately balanced because all it would take is like 10% of their game, the people who buy the games just now, to go, wait a minute, this game has nothing in it. I'm not playing this. And then if they get hit with loot box bans at the same time, that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's how. Like you're talking about, if those people are there just for loot boxes, they'll stop playing once they're gone. If they got hit with a loot box ban and it caused them to lose 10% of their player base, I think that game franchise is
Kaputski.
sunk. Because it won't be enough money for a company like that. It might keep them above the red, but it's not enough for that company to survive from the point of view of share price. And as soon as that starts to plummet, that's when the whole company starts to fracture.
Indeed it is.
Sorry, I went off on one there about share prices.
It's okay. It's okay.
Pat myself on the head.
Pat you on the head.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome. We're not in the same room, by the way. I just want to make that very clear to people. We're video chatting. We're being responsible. Socially distancing of how many miles?
Distanced.
2.5 miles away from each other, 3 miles away from each other, something like that.
It's three at least, I'd say. Maybe
Soon
4.
to be more.
Oh, it's maybe more. Maybe 4. Maybe approaching 5 actually, because of the fact that the school. Did you get the bus into school?
Nope.
So we are both so a maximum of 4-ish miles. 4 miles. But I was like a distance of 1.95 miles from the school, so I never got the bus. Whereas if you never got it, so yeah, it'd be a maximum of about 3.5 to 4 miles. I'd put that.
We had this crazy thing in like the next little bit over from us. I won't say names or anything like that. But it's basically it's cut in half the bit over from us basically, and people who lived on the left hand side were eligible. People on the right hand side were not eligible for free bus pass, which is the most.
Just over from the park from where I live, the piece of field area. There's a road just behind that.
Yeah.
And that's eligible, and I'm not. I wasn't, sorry.
It made no sense.
I don't want a bus pass right now to school. But yeah, because it's 2 miles. So if that's the case, we're approaching about 3.5 to 4 miles, somewhere in that bracket from each other.
It used to cost us like £1.50 if we wanted to get the bus, but that's one way.
Yeah, we just walked or got a lift.
Yeah, but I was lazy.
Yeah.
So I always got a lift.
Yeah, well, I got a lift a lot as well. But what was I was saying? Just for anybody who's not Scottish, bit is your bit is your house, or the sort of street your house is on, or sort of the rough area your house is in where you live. So if if I said to Abby, "Oh, come round to my bit," she'd be coming round to my house.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
I was really confused there. What? Why? And I said it's because I said the bit next to us.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I said bit as well, but the point is that I'm not. You normally translate for me.
Yeah.
Which annoys me, but you do it because you actually just say those words.
Yeah.
But in this case, you were using the correct terminology, so I had to explain to anybody who didn't understand that your bit is your house
or area.
It's a rough area your house is in can be your bit as well. It depends. If I said to a bunch of Americans, come round to my bit, I could just be talking about Scotland. It depends, but your bit is where you live, depending upon the category of conversation.
I never took over. Took that as I just said a bit is just like a bit of land to me.
No, your bit is your place.
Oh well, I just always said the bit over there, the land over there. That's how I've always used it.
Well, it might be, but you're probably
incorrect.
Tory voters.
I'm not.
Do you go fox hunting?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
I don't know why they take dogs fox hunting. The best bit of the fox hunting is when you get to rip its head off with your own teeth. So why would you have a dog do that for you?
Please stop. You're going to annoy so many people. We do not advocate. We do not advocate hunting in the slightest. Fox hunting in
No,
this
no, no, whoa,
country
whoa,
is
whoa, whoa, stop,
illegal.
stop, stop, stop. I advocate, I advocate humane hunting in some
Culling.
contexts because occasionally there are actual dangers, in which case it's absolutely fine, but you've got to be humane about it. They're just randomly hunting foxes with armies of dogs that tear them apart for no real reason because they enjoy it, because it's tradition, because Jacket and Brandy. That's all. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't, and that's why they outlawed it.
Yeah, but they're trying to bring it back.
Yeah, well, hopefully it stays outlawed because it's just
Well, I
barbaric.
know it's outlawed here, but I don't know if it's outlawed in
I
England
think it
anymore. And
is.
there are hunts that cross the border.
Anyway,
And there's been lots of arguments about setting up a police stop so that every time they try to, they all get arrested.
that makes sense.
But the problem there is if you put the police on the border, everybody who's a unionist goes absolutely mental. And then
Fox
the English
hunting
start
is
saying
wrong.
it's
Fox
racist.
hunting is wrong. And we will end it there.
Yep. Mass Effect Dragon Age thumbs up. Fox hunting thumbs down.
Indeed. And I will end with my spiel of, if you want to hear more, you can always subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification button for my upload, hit the share button, share it with your friends and family or your enemies. Share it with everybody. Go on, I dare ya. You can leave a comment down below if you want, or you can email us at overshadow.shadowcast@gmail.com. Please, yet again, we do not advocate hunting unless it's humanely, as in culling or something like that.
It has to be humane and it has to be necessary.
We do not advocate dog hunting, fox hunting.
You see a bear walking into a maternity ward, feel free to open fire. Within reason.
Dart gun, sleep time.
Yeah, dart gun's fine. If you don't have a dart gun and all you've got some machete, start hacking away. Unless it's like I think a brown bear, a fruit bear, they're absolutely fine. They don't eat meat, so they might leave the babies alone. If you see a grizzly going in, then you start chopping away.
Stop. We're gonna get so many complaints.
I don't care. What's there to complain about? If you see a potentially dangerous bear charging into a maternity ward, go at it. If you see a gorilla going in, leave it alone. The gorilla's probably just going to look after the babies.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Bye bye.
Bye.